series was my first foray. This series was my first foray. Foray? I don't words today. Hey guys, hi, welcome back to my channel. I have Harry right here. I have my 3-year-old right here, and I have my 5-year-old over there. He's playing blocks. And I am down to the last minute before my parents come on a visit. And you're probably like, Shelly, why are you filming hours before, truly hours before your parents come into town and take on this visit? And it's because I filmed a review of the Wolf Hall trilogy, which I have right here. And I really disliked it. I am stilted and stiff, and I cannot seem to get my words together. And so I thought, why not just try it again, especially since I got all of those words out the first time. So if you are new to my channel, then hi, I'm Shelly. I love books and reading, and I recently read Hilary Mantel's Thomas Cromwell series, and this is the root. Interruptions are pretty common on my channel, so I try and cut that out so that you all have a better visual experience. Anyway, so I recently read the Hilary Mantel's Thomas Cromwell series, and I thought I would go over them with you today. So I'm going to start off with the publication date and the year and the kind of premise of the books, and then I'll tell you some of the pros and maybe some of the cons, how the group that I read it received it, and maybe some final thoughts to wrap things up. I hope that I actually follow this outline because I don't have any notes to help me. Who is Thomas Cromwell? So Thomas Cromwell is an advisor to King Henry VIII. And I think that history and literature often remembers him as somebody who maybe influenced the king in the king's more rash and quick decisions to exile or just behead. And I think some of that reasoning, some of that quick reasoning and quick decisions is sometimes pinned on Thomas Cromwell. Thomas Cromwell can be known as a brute, as someone who is really quite selfish, or maybe rose to power in a power hungry, and all of these kind of icky attributes. And Hilary Mantel really set out to redefine Thomas Cromwell. So let's actually get into some of the meat of this video. So Wolf Hall was published in 2009 and won the Booker Prize for that year. In one sentence, I would say this is Thomas Cromwell's rise to power. This follows in the years of 1500 to about 1530s. Bring Up the Bodies was published in 2012 and also won the Booker Prize for that year. It follows, I would say, the fall of the Boleyn family, and we see Thomas Cromwell's best, most powerful, and sinister moves in this book. And then the final book is The Mirror and the Light, which was published in 2020 and was longlisted for the Booker, but unfortunately did not win. This is quite a bit longer than the other two books, and I would say that this follows the relationship of Thomas Cromwell and King Henry VIII as their relationship grows more contentious. Yeah, and so this follows the years 1500 because it dips back and forth in time, 1500s to about 1540. So you're really dealing with a mammoth series, a series that probably definitely would equal the size of a mammoth. And it is all about that really juicy Tudor era. So Hilary Mantel, she sets out to change our perceptions of Thomas Cromwell, this brute and unfeeling, manipulative, and cruel man that he's often remembered as. And so when I think about Thomas Cromwell, I think about the way that Hilary Mantel is presenting him is quite sympathetic, and you get the sense that he was often misinterpreted. And the way that she does this is that she makes Thomas Cromwell a very quiet character, somebody that is difficult to read. There's actually this phrase that she uses, which is just brilliant, and it is arrange your face. And so it means that even though you might be feeling this really intense anger or frustration or whatever it might be, to not show it on your face. And he really just puts this principle to practice. And also when you arrange your face, you're not maybe your words are a little more subversive and can be read a couple of different ways. And Thomas Cromwell often says things to people that are very, very subtle, that can be interpreted as maybe siding with whomever he's speaking to. But you know, in reality, it's really more neutral than that. He's crafty and clever and observant, and gosh, I love Thomas Cromwell so much that he reminded me of my husband, Ted. And so Jolene from Bookworm Adventure Girl, she actually dubbed Ted Tedwell, because I was just like, I've never read anybody who is so much like my husband, because my husband, like Thomas Cromwell, or say Thomas Cromwell, you know, like my husband, however you want to say it, they're often quiet and taking things in, and then also saving what somebody says, or saving someone's attitude for a move later on that maybe someone didn't foresee. My husband is also like a fastidious bookkeeper and like keeps all of his emails, and so his whole back catalog for his work is very, very searchable. People from his work, I hope they're not watching. I don't think they are. And it wouldn't matter if you have nothing to hide. But you know, if we get back to the Tudors, everyone is out to either get more money, get more power, put the right people in place, get their niece to flirt with King Henry, and so that they can be promoted to court. It is a very dangerous and sinister situation, because so many people are out for power, which really makes it very, very exciting. Now, even though I'm painting this really, really exciting picture, I would say that the linchpin of this whole series is Mantel's writing. This is how I would explain Mantel's writing. I felt like I was in the presence of an artist every time I opened up one of her books. I did listen to some portions of the last two books, and whether I was listening to it or reading it, I would just sit there in awe of how she crafted that paragraph, how she was able to just dip in and out of time through someone's memories, and the way that she slowly tells a story and the way that we unravel it feels so artful and so beautiful. I think Thomas Cromwell watches and waits for the right pieces to fall into place, and he waits for his move. I actually think that that is one of his greatest strengths. And so that you have a lot of waiting time, and you have scenes going by, and you're not, as a reader, like Thomas Cromwell, taking in these scenes. You don't know how much this is going to play in the final act, basically. And so you are getting this, and you're like, okay, is this gonna be important later? And definitely, as I move forward through the series, I realized that that is part of her style, is giving you these scenes, these impressions, these conversations with others, and the reader, and Thomas Cromwell, not really knowing how this is going to play out in the future, but sometimes saving these conversations for future use. It was fascinating. It was really fascinating. I do want to give you a taste of Mantel's writing, and I will do it as much as I have this camera battery. So sometimes she's very, very vivid, and she just sucks you in right away. And that was right here in the very first sentence, very first paragraph in page 1, chapter 1 of book 1. So it says, "So get up now, felled, dazed, silent, he has fallen, knocked full length on the cobbles of the yard, his head turned sideways, eyes turned toward the gate as if someone might arrive to help him out. One blow properly placed could kill him now." So in this case, this writing is like super vivid and really energetic, and gives you a really clear picture in your mind that somebody is getting beat up, and not by choice, and that somebody's on the ground and something bad is happening, and that scene immediately sucked me in. Sometimes Mantel's writing is like that, punchy, upbeat, vivid, like, woo, immersive. And then sometimes it's a little more subtle. I would say that Hilary Mantel, she is an incredibly graceful writer. She moves super fluidly in and out of time, in and out of memories, and she does it just with absolute perfection. And again, when I was reading these books, regardless of how long a scene was, and sometimes where the book kind of dragged a little bit, especially the third book being so long, and you really do spend a lot of time waiting for something to happen. And for me, that was it was tense. I was watching this contention between Wolsey and the king build, and I wanted to know how the final act would play out. And I felt like I was in the presence of a really wonderful and incredible artist. And so for me, I thought it was wonderful and completely worth it. And it ate up my time and my devotion and my energy for that time. But I know that like not everybody felt that way. It would only take you the first chapter, maybe two, to really figure out if her writing will gel with you. But if you like her writing, what's wonderful is that she stays consistent throughout all of the books. And so you can really thoroughly enjoy her writing throughout. And it is actually a feat that she doesn't back off or pare down or skip over her writing in any way. Like, she doesn't cut corners. Mantel is not a corner cutter. She is like devoted to Cromwell and his character and the way that we perceive him, and to really write a different narrative than the one that we've heard before. And for that, I think that this series is an absolute feat in historical fiction terms. I mean, she is absolutely able to turn this remembered brute and kind of awful guy into someone who is really sympathetic, who is a family man, who loves others, who does things for others. I mean, you really, really sympathize with him. And I know that I definitely did. I mean, for goodness sake, I called Ted, my husband, Tedwall, because I mean, Mantel really helps you understand that Cromwell's motivations weren't completely of ill intent. And the connection that I was able to make with Cromwell was just wonderful. I really, really enjoyed sticking with him through all of these pages. It was just absolutely wonderful. And interestingly, I think there's an interview, though I haven't read it, but of what it felt like for Mantel to occupy the mind of a character for like more than a decade, which is what she did with Cromwell. So very, very interesting. I really loved it. It was just such a wonderful series. I would say that it's my favorite series of all time, and probably for this moment, as of right now, it is my favorite series of all time. Okay, not that that needed to be dramatic or anything. It's just such a good series, y'all. Okay, but that's it for me. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for letting me be kind of and that's it. So I will hopefully I'll see y'all soon. So again, my parents are going to be here, so yeah. Anyways, thank you all for being here. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in my next one. Bye.